Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking. And thank you very much for being with me today. We will be speaking about the week ahead, which is going to be starting on the 10th, and we will be covering till the 16th of May. You might be thinking that I've got a funny background, but I kind of felt like we've got so many great energies happening at the moment. So why not? Let's just put a funny background behind me. It's because we're going to be having a great Taurus energy, a new moon happening, and also we've got Jupiter moving into the sign of Pisces. So we've got plenty to talk about. However, which I wanted to start today with is actually Ceres. The number one asteroid is moving into the sign of Taurus, which, by the way, happens at the weekend. I kind of left it out last week, so I wanted to touch base on basically Ceres. So Ceres was discovered in 1800s, and what's really fascinating is when she was discovered, she was in an exact alignment with a fixed star called Algol. But this was so exact, it was 0 degrees, 0 minute apart from Algol. And it's a little bit strange because Algol is in connection with the Medusa's head. And it was actually discovered in Italy. And the Medusa's head is also found on the Sicilian flag also. So, but let's just discover a little bit more about what Ceres really means. So, Ceres is a asteroid, and as I said, it was discovered in 1800s. To be precise, it was 1801. And she is placed between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. And to start with, she was not an asteroid. She was our eighth planet. But then in 2006, she got demoted because of its irregular circle and the orbit it does. So Ceres in mythology is actually the goddess of agriculture and earth. So we call her as the Earth Mother. And in Greek mythology, she is called as Demeter, and she was the sister of Zeus. And she had a daughter, Persephone, who got abducted by Pluto, and she was taken to the underground. Now, what happened after was that Demeter started kind of being very sad, and she wanted to take her rage out on people. So she kind of brought hunger to the earth. And Zeus saw that, and he eventually ordered Pluto to do something about it. So they actually came up with an agreement that Persephone will spend 6 months above Earth and 6 months under Earth. So there were plenty of starved people, really, and it was actually Mercury, the messenger of God, who convinced his father to do something about it. So you can see already from the story what Ceres might be indicating in the chart, because it has got this very strong mother instinct. It would go as far as possible to kind of save its own child. But at the same time, it is ready to make some sacrifices in life as well. And of course, when Persephone is again under the world, she is going to be very sad about that. So Ceres could really talk about in your chart some of the potence within yourself, but it also covers something around depression as well. So she is the goddess of fertility of the land, and she deals with resources we accrue for our survival, and also how we want to be nurtured and how we want to be loved. But at the same time, what is our nurturing style as well? And of course, when we don't get what we want, then this series can really go, frustrated. So she is the Greek goddess of the harvest. And of course, it's going to be talking about some agricultural changes whenever it is making a significant move in our chart. So I feel like when we speak about Ceres, it actually does help us with commitment in relationship. And also it does talk about how we find comfort in our everyday activities. It is talking about the fact whether you are comfortable in your own skin or are you really a jealous type. So Ceres has got this Marsian, Plutonian, and Jupiterian type of energy combined. So of course, the Jupiter is the optimistic side to things, which wants to grow. It's one of those fertile planets. But then Mars and the Plutonian energy says, once you piss me off, I'm going to get very angry and I'm going to bring you some frustration in your life. So Ceres is going to be moving into the sign of Taurus. So some of the questions it might bring up for us is that, do you actually track your spending habit or you become a hoarder? Taurus is associated with money, safety and stability, and these are going to be a primary importance for you. Of course, our well-being might be actually linked to material things. And I kind of find it interesting that Ceres is moving into Taurus, and at the same time, we've got a new moon happening in Taurus as well, which means that we somehow need to stay real. Now, as I said, this series is going to be asking you the question, how comfortable you are in your own skin. How are you be able to kind of portray your sensual side? Are you able to kind of reconnect with nature, or are you actually quite natural when it comes to your own body? So maybe you will be able to see that you will enjoy cooking for others a lot more, or you want to be watching out for your eating habits a little bit. Let's not forget that this is the spring season. So Ceres very much about the 4 seasons. And when it's spring and summer, Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, is above the ground. And when it comes to winter, she's actually with Hades, Pluto, underworld. So this is more about the happy period. So it does talk about the fact that we're going to have to watch out for things, what we put into our stomach. Because Ceres here likes any physical affection, anything to do with comfort. So the comfort food could be something which might be a little bit of an issue. So therefore, we can really put on weight as well. Now, I would also say that there is this element of wanting to feel some warmth and snuggle in our relationship as well. But one of the major factor with this series is definitely about self-care habits. Excuse me. So, what is my physical body need? So is that food, good, healthy food, or something which is found in the nature or in our environment? Maybe you will be able to see that you're going to start enjoying gardening a lot more, being in the nature, going to the park, and all those type of things. Now, when it comes to making food for others, it might become more natural, and then you want to be inviting more people around as well. There is definitely this element of the pleasure of eating, which might be very, very possible with this aspect. Now, of course, we've got a Taurian, the money, the wealth aspect of Taurus as well. And as I said, Ceres is very much about agriculture and growth, fertility. So actually, this could indicate that you grow wealth quite slowly, but consistently. And it might be telling you also that you're going to be a little bit more possessive about your financial situations as well. Some of you definitely will feel a big changes in their finances. Maybe it's going to be about making some hard changes, new ways, figuring out new ways how we can earn money. And it might require a little bit more flexibility as well. But also at the same time, it might be talking about that you become a lot more organized or grounded when it comes to how I want to be spending money. Now, of course, there is always a darker side of each of the planetary energies. So the dark side of Ceres is something around abuse, rape, abduction, and in the worst cases, even pedophilia. So it doesn't necessarily mean that these things could happen, but one of the keywords I would pick here is the abuse. So are you abusing the power of money, or are you abusing food? So maybe it's going to be more about, you know, can I throw that away? Can I not really throw that away? Now, in many, many cases, Ceres actually appears in charts who are very narcissistic. And also, Ceres is one of those asteroids which represents a depression in your chart as well. So these could be also a significant topic. And when I'm depressed, I'm going to be eating because I want to be kind of building an emotional wall around me. So pretty much Ceres in your chart is going to be representing to you where you experience spring and summer, but as well as autumn and winter. So where you can really blossom and be fertile, or where you can really go depressed. And of course, these two walk hand in hand. So when Ceres is falling into the sign of Taurus, I want to be blossoming by, let's say, making a delicious meal or earning money. But when I don't do that, then I might start abusing my own power, or I become a little bit depressed about that. So what do I mean by a prominent Ceres? It kind of needs to be in conjunction with another planet or angle within 2 degrees. And that's when you have got a very prominent Ceres in your chart, I would say. Now, I would also say that, so Ceres is something very much about your highs and lows. And at the same time, it could also talk about weather forecast. Now, interestingly enough, it has just gone into the sign of Taurus today. And I woke up and it's quite chilly. Yesterday, it was at least 30 degrees in Sofia, Bulgaria. And then today, I think about 10 degrees. It's quite windy, cloudy, and quite dark energies. So there could be also some weather condition changes around you as well. And I would say which is definitely affecting those people who have got some agricultural type of businesses. Ceres, as I mentioned, can bring some type of depression as well. So even in Taurus, it might bring some because you feel that you are not worthy enough, or certain type of projects are not going the way you want them to be going. Or maybe you have tied your self-worth to earning money way too much. And this is the reason why things are not working out. Now, this was a little bit about the Ceres. And then let's get started with our weekly energies. What is happening in the sky? So first of all, of course, this is a huge week because we've got some great energy shifts happening. And one of them is, of course, Jupiter moving into Pisces this week, which I think we have been waiting on for a long time. Now, in this video, I won't be talking about Jupiter ingression into the sign of Pisces because I've already made 3 videos about it. So there is a general description of Jupiter in the sign of Pisces and what we might be expecting on global level. And I've also personalized it, and I made a video about Jupiter transit in each of your houses. However, there will be one more video coming in a couple of days about Jupiter's aspects in 2021 and 22, especially to Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, the Neptune conjunction. So I was exploring a little bit of a history and what it could bring for us in the upcoming 1.5 years. So I feel like you've got a real treat to plan Jupiterian topics in your life. So I really recommend listening to all those free videos. And I'm going to put the link above for the first two and keep an eye on the third one, which is going to be coming in a couple of days. Now, we also have got a new moon happening on the 11th, which I also made a separate video about. So I am not going to be talking about this separately. But let's have a look at the other aspects also. So the very first one is on the 11th of May, Mercury is in conjunction to North Node. Now, North Node always has got this insatiable hunger type of energy. It is kind of the never enough feeling. And we can have that around the Mercurian topics. So it is a kind of a hunger for information or socialization or hunger for data. I want to be in contact with everyone. It could indicate quite a busy period. Now, I would like to mention that this Mercury is definitely a very important one because firstly, it's the ruler of the North Node. So when the ruler of the North Node and the North Node are in conjunction, it kind of talks about a new cycle, meaning that we are kind of starting a new, I would say, 8-month period where we will be seeing plenty of changes around our karmic journey. And when it comes to traveling, something to do with the education system and so forth. But on the other hand, I would also like to mention that this Mercury is also the dispositor of the new moon in Taurus, which is also happening on the 11th. Don't forget that this new moon is ruled by Venus, and Venus has already shifted into the sign of Gemini as well. So the final dispositor of this new moon is actually Mercury, which on top of that is going to go retrograde as well at the end of the month. So definitely we will see plenty of changes, karmic changes in the collective power in the next, I would say, 3 to 4 months. There is always a little bit of a danger when Mercury is conjunct in North Node. And the reason being is because we can become a little bit scattered. So obviously these two are in a mutable sign, which tends to be going with the flow. But of course, there's a positive side to it as well. We can even juggle a lot more with tasks. And you might be ending up reading 2 books in one go or working on 2 projects in one go. But there needs to be an element of a cautiousness to it because we can easily miss important details, what we shouldn't be. It's like you're trying to spin the wheel and then it doesn't get anywhere. It never stops. It's a brilliant day to actually plan or write down your plans because you might be having thousands and then pick a couple of them and then move on, sort that out. And then maybe the next week I can bring or I can focus on the other plans as well. It's also very possible that we are going to be overdoing technological type of things. So it might be the fact that you're going to be purchasing plenty of courses in one go, and then you never know when you will be able to catch up, or you're going to be downloading, I don't know, 4 or 5 applications, 4 or 5 games. So there is an element of a youthness to this energy as well. But I do believe on a world scale, it's going to be bringing us some technological breakthrough. Now, on the very same day, we've got a little bit of a different energy going on. Mars is actually in sextile with Uranus. Now, let's not forget that Mars is in the sign of Cancer, where he has got its 4 position. So it has got a tendency to become depressed easily. And Uranus is kind of giving this electric burst of energy to it. So we can actually express our frustration a lot more, or we might be having kind of a sudden lightning bolt of the cause of our depression. There is always an element of surprising quality to Uranus. And because Mars is being in the sign of Cancer, it is somehow stimulating our emotional side. So You can be extremely emotional today, and you can even be feisty because you want to be standing up for your own feelings. But Cancer is so much to do with your safety net as well. So you might have got kind of a breakthrough why I don't feel safe in certain situations. There is this last straw syndrome to this kind of energy, and I want to be letting the steam out. And it could be landing on people actually you love. And they might be kind of holding their head, what is happening with this person? So you might want to be kind of tackling this energy, even though this is a sextile, which comes with some type of solutions. So in the end, it might turn out quite well, but at the beginning, it could bring plenty of frustration as well at the same time. It might be just the fact that you feel uncomfortable around the freedom topics, and that is making you frustrated. Also, when it comes to medical things, I would say that you might want to be paying attention to what you eat, especially this day when Ceres is already in the sign of Taurus. We've got the new moon in Taurus. We've got such a Taurian influence going on here. So anything to do with food, food poisoning, or even stomach cramps can be something which makes your kind of emotional well-being disrupted. So you might be thinking about, do I feel safe wherever I am, or do I want to be relocating, for instance? So it's kind of like recognizing what is safe and what is not safe around myself. I also feel like that these two planets together, they both have got a little bit of a volatile energy to it. So it's like really fighting for some liberating moment, or fighting for my freedom as well. Or it's just all about liberating myself, knowing what is the real issue in my life. But I also feel like this could be really talking about some fun and excitement. So you might want to be focusing on that department. And even if you want to be making some changes in your life, it could be happening quite smoothly. So I feel like you can be very motivated and inspired to make things happen. It might be very good for actually making money through real estate on that day, because there is an element of a pushiness to it. There is an element of me being able to convince others of my own truth also. I also believe that you can even benefit in your relationship department here also. Yes, you can be extremely needy today, but when we look at the sexual side of Mars, actually it could bring some very great excitement into our daring personality in the sexual department, and we can become a lot more eccentric. We can even play some type of a role play with this, a little bit of a kinkiness kind of energy with this Uranus and Mars. The following day, also, we've got a super great aspect going on, which is actually Mercury trining Saturn. You might be wondering, oh, Saturn, and is that great for us? Yes, because it creates a very strong bond, especially with Mercury on a mental level. So it's like the great minds are working together, and it's being able to focus on what really matters. This is a very logical and factual aspect. It does talk about practicality. It's a brilliant day to make long-term plans, or even to sign a contract, or come into an agreement with a person you have been wanting to have some type of collaboration with. It's also because Saturn crystallizes things, so it could be a brilliant day to crystallize some of our long-term plans. Saturn here with Mercury trine is more about saying yes to something which has got a long-lasting potentials. It is also about finalizing something, especially Mercury topics in your chart. So you might want to be looking at what Mercury rules in your personal chart. This is the type of aspect when pieces are falling into place. And then after, we can actually go ahead and start something fresh. because you are also able to see the details. So this aspect is all about decision making and clear choices. I also feel like that when it comes to determination or having some type of mental endurance to succeed is also very, very possible with this aspect. This aspect is a little bit more methodical. So it has got a plan, it has got a very strong work ethic, and a very great focus on details also. It really favors any type of manual work, so especially around constructions and mechanics. So maybe this is the day when it's worth taking your car for an MOT or getting it checked out and getting some things fixed on it. Now, the following day, on the 13th, well, that's when Jupiter is going to be moving into the sign of Pisces. But at the same time, there is a sextile happening between Sun and Neptune. And this is definitely something which is heightening your sensitivity. So you can be a lot more intuitive, imaginative. It is kind of a creative self-expression, what it carries within. Your psychic awareness can grow quite a lot as well. And then you might be able to download some valuable information about yourself also. But I also believe that we've got an element of, you know, the Sun is the identity and Neptune does talk about fluidity. So it's easier to express ourselves. It's easier to kind of, express our creative self. But this definitely shows about the fact that it's just all about going with the flow and then showing the whole self of mine. It's all about expressing my feelings. And even it might be talking about the fact that this is the day when you can be very forgiving. And then even with that Saturn Mercury trine, you can even settle some arguments as well. Yes, it might not be the most clear-headed aspects. So this is not the day when you should be making some important decisions in your life, because it has got this daydreaming quality to it. It's more about going with the flow, a little bit enjoying what we've got. I also believe that with this aspect, we can become a lot more charitable, for instance, or there is this very idealistic side to ours, or we might become quite empathetic to others. And the last aspect of the week is actually the Sun trine Pluto, which is going to be happening on the 16th of May. So as you can see, we've got some great astrological breaks in between. But I feel like it's also needed with all the Jupiter moving into Pisces, then Ceres moving into Taurus. So we've got, and the new moon energy and the Mercury North Node conjunction. So we've got some karmic, very strong aspects going on this week. So the 14th, 15th are pretty much about an astrological break. And then eventually Sun will be trining Pluto. And this brings quite an intense, deep experience. So it's all about being at the moment. Maybe it's all about making some type of research or investigating somehow the inner self, having a full understanding of how the self functions or what my real heart desires are, which way I want to be going. So you've got an element of a greater power and influence now on your life. And actually, it's giving you the tools and equipment to kind of transform yourself into a better version. It is a brilliant day for promotion. It is a brilliant day to connect with people who have got some type of larger organizations or they are authority figures. So usually people with some type of power. And you have got the ability to make a great impression on them. Now, I also believe that this is a very brilliant day to learn some mysterious occult or even challenging fields. So brilliant day to dig yourself deeper into astrology, for instance, or how to do some personal transformation. I usually say that the Sun and the Pluto are like two ego clashes. But this time around, with this trine aspect, there is an element of joining forces. So it's a lot easier to applicate or allow yourself for a positive transformation. So overall, this week is full of blessings and benefits. So I hope this video helps you to grab the essence of the week and then how to play, how to play with the energies to bring the most out of yourself as well. So I'm really hoping to see you in my next video, which will be about the Jupiter aspects in 2021 and 2022. Take care of yourself, everyone, and see you very shortly. Bye-bye.